through spaces where like they don't like us like they used to like us, or like they're testing stuff. Like, did you and your son ever have like that space or go through those motions of kind of rockier times?
Me and him never really had that, but my daughters, I have daughters.
Yeah.
I went through that with them. And through emotional intelligence, I learned that was all with them. And I let them be. But one of my daughters did something last year that luckily I was able to apply emotional intelligence. She told me something that made me listen. She said, Dad, you wasn't there for me. And my first thing was like, what you mean? I raised you. I was there. But then when she said, you came home, you went to bed, you got up, we took us to school. When we came home from school, you was going to work. You came home at night, we sleep. You got up, took us to school. Then on the weekend, I was going to my mom. Then I thought about I wasn't there. And she was right. So that made me look at everything in my life. I had to start readjusting because even though she was already grown when we had this conversation, I still had my son and a younger daughter that I had to make adjustments to in my life so they don't grow up having that same feeling. Because a lot of times we think that we're providing a house and paying the bills that we there, but we're really not there.
Yeah, I struggle with that. Even now, when we out here trying to get, chase this dream, build this legacy, right? It's important that we take a moment to understand that the people that's in our households, right, are impacted by that, and we don't see that. We expect them just to be still, and so I have to slow myself down on a regular basis, and that's probably one of my biggest challenges today. And I have to check in with my wife and ask her, so we. Like and so it's crazy because my regulator or my thing to try to keep me in tune, I will say to her, look, make sure that we get a weekend getaway, once a month at least, right? Plan it. Don't even just plan it. You know what I mean? And we're gone to make sure that I tap in with her. And when JR is at home, he's the only kid that's still at home now. Like, I bust into his room every now and then. I just had to check in with him and sit on the bed and say what's happening because, to your point, we do that regular routine every single day, and you feel like that's raising your kids, and we missing that part. That kind of reminded me of the story that my oldest daughter, Jasmine, told me. It wasn't about being there, but it was about me keep saying to her, you don't know how it is. How I grew up, like at the time we were living, like she had her own bathroom, her own this and on that. And I'm like, me and your uncle used to sleep in the same bed with the opposite end, and you ain't got it like that. And she waited till I was done. She was like, but Dad, you're right. Like I don't know how it was. All I know is this. And really, I don't even know why you keep telling me that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're not making a point there, buddy. And to your point, I almost want to be offended. But she said it in the most respectful way she could possibly say it, and it changed my perspective to stop trying to make our children somehow honor or respect our struggle. Like it don't got nothing to do with them, and stop trying to also put all of our views onto them. We can share, but they got free will, and they need to be able to make their own decisions, right? When they're ready. But we antsy, right? We get all, this anxiety because we want them to be better than us. And the reality of it is they're on their own path. Maybe they will be, maybe they won't. But it's not really our responsibility like we think it is. But it's basically what we tell ourselves, which leads us to our skill set of the day at the I Never Worry podcast, where we talk about emotional intelligence with everyday people in everyday situations. The skill set of the day is don't take anything personally, even when it feels personal. See, most people don't understand that this is a skill set. Because how many times in our life have we taken things personally? Jerome, you ever taken anything personal? Lil Jerome, tell me about it. First thing come to mind.
Oh, well, I got these friends, right, at school, and I took it personal. Once there, I just got flamed. I got roasted. It was the time when I had braids. And they just flamed my stuff. They was calling me the cancer Kawhi Leonard.
Give you the business?
Yes, they was flaming my stuff. And then that day I lost a basketball game too. I was heated. And I took it personal. And now looking back on it, like, you got to learn how to differentiate yourself from all those things. Like, question yourself, does this really matter to me? And that way, and then you'll figure out what matters and what don't. What should be a priority and what shouldn't.
And so when you take something personal, what kind of feelings come about? When somebody does something to you and you take it personal, what's the first feeling come to mind?
Depends on what they do.
That's a good point.
Good response.
It's a good response, and usually it's probably anger, right? Frustration, disappointment, things of that nature. Big Jerome, what about you when it comes to taking things personally? What do you think about that?
I mean, I used to take things personal, but talking with you about different things, calling you, man, then you just made me think. So I, always try to listen so I can hear exactly what the person is saying, and not always just try to have a answer back. So then I started just realizing that how you think of me, that's on you. I have nothing to do with that.
Right.
You could think whatever you want, and that's your opinion. It don't matter to me how I think of myself. So once I started looking at everything like that, I stopped taking everything personal. No matter what goes on, I stopped taking it personal. Just like you were saying about the parking spot, it was at Berkeley Bowl, and that place stayed cracking. I mean, they got to have money out because it just stayed. Parking lot. So
they even got people out there to guide you, like air traffic controllers. Yeah.
So I'm sitting there waiting for a park, and somebody knew they canceled. I should have got that park. I know that was for me, but I didn't. I said, all right. I just waited. Another one opened up, and I got it. But before, I would have been trying to mob in there and beat him into it. But I just learned, that's on him, So, like I said, main thing is just the more I got balanced and in tune with myself, the more I learned to stop taking everything personal.
Yeah, I think that's important in like what you say, because like a lot of times, like, so you missed that spot, right? And then take, for instance, you drive up a little bit faster, a little bit further, and you get a spot closer. Mm-hmm. And then somebody will be like, see, me not taking that spot, it ended up working out better for me. Mm-hmm. But I think it's more than that. Even if you have to park 2 blocks further, your mental is in a better space.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It always works out better when you're in control of your emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's some heavy energy to carry around. Like, energy is huge, the personal energy that we carry around, and folks don't really understand that, because if you spend a lot of energy over a parking stall, right, you get frustrated. There's tons of videos across the internet where people are having a super conflict over parking. It turns into a physical altercation, to a fight, and sometimes even somebody might lose their life because it became bigger than a parking spot. It became the disrespect, or it became the threat, right? Because it elevated. And the funny thing about those situations, would definitely help me slow down, because when you get angry, you kind of blank out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like nothing else matters. And you give yourself permission to be like,
the Hulk.
Right? You become the Hulk, right? Except for when they say cut. You know what I mean? You in Santa Rita, but you're in a hall somewhere, right? And then you spending all your time trying to unravel or do damage control for something that you in a moment, right? You made a permanent decision in a temporary situation, and we want to be mindful of that. And so when you stay focused on, none of this is personal, right? What people think about me is none of my business, right? When you use perspective, right? If there's a long line or somebody is being rude towards you, you just understand like that is what they're dealing with and not you. And that it's just a very healthy way to live, because it's super unhealthy to carry negative energy around with you. And because when you're being negative and you're carrying that type of energy, you miss other opportunities. Right. There are things right there in front of you cannot see because you're still tripping off this. And then think about when you're mad about something, right? How many people you tell. Right. You tell about how mad. So now you ruining their day.
Right.
Jerome.
Let me before you go to the next one. One other thing too that what people fail to realize: without emotional intelligence, what happened to your body internally? So
talk to us.
You have 2 systems in your body that governs everything: parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system. When you get mad, your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Once it kicks in, it decreases blood flow, blood and nutrients to your to your digestive system, your reproductive system, your immune system, and your estrogen system. So once you staying mad, so now what do black people have a lot? Colon cancer, prostate cancer. Well, your expiratory system is part of your colon. Your reproductive is part of your prostate. What else we have? Digestive issues. So we shut down these systems. See, the body don't care. It just know emotion is just feeling. So it's like a switchboard. So as soon as you get mad, You can eat all the best food in the world, drink the best water, but if you don't have emotional intelligence, it's meaningless because the body's going to switch. You're going to get mad, and those systems is going to shut down. And they stay shut down too long, you're going to basically become very sick because you not feeding these systems enough, and you overworking the other system that's kicked in.
Right. Man, that's so heavy.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to transcribe so we can get to write that stuff down. Man, you got a book coming out or something, man? Tell you.
I want you to help me.
It's all good. You know, we're going to keep that going. So what I want to talk about now, I want to know about, I was going to ask you, I asked Lil Jerome about a short story. I want to ask you about a short story about where you could think about where there was an emotionally charged situation either you've been a part of or one that you observed.
This is a two-part. I'm going to use him. So he used me, I'm going to use him. With this year in football, I watched him for all his years of playing. He always been a starter, always been, one of the go-to players. So this year, he wasn't that dude. And it wasn't that he didn't have a skill set. It was more so, it was a lot of favoritism. So he had to, so watching him get mad, I had to work with him and be able to stay cool, calm myself and not let the coaches know where my mindset was at, but also show him how he got to stand up and speak up for himself and not let them keep you in this down space. You got to have a voice. You don't be disrespectful, but you got to stand up and you got to go take what you want because ain't nobody going to give it to you. He expecting them to give it to him because everything came easy. Now you know that you got to go take it. You got to separate yourself from the next person. You can't even be close. When you step on that field, you want to be night and day to the next person that's behind you, want to take your spot.
Yeah.
So just to watch him go through that as a father, I had to use emotional intelligence because I wanted to go through. Y'all know how to coach with my son like that.
Right.
Then as a coach, also knew because I'm on a same coaching staff, also didn't want to make it seem like play my son, like I want favoritism.
Right.
I had to govern all those emotions to approach it the right way where everybody could come out all right. Me as a coach, him as a player, and other coaches as well.
So how did you shake that? Tell me about that process. Not being who you felt like you wanted to be, pops on you, trying to help you cultivate, a way to, because all of our lives, right, we're going to go through this thing called adversity, right? Mm-hmm. The things that lean up on us and try to stop us from reaching our goals. Tell me about that moment that you was able to come past to push through that.
Man, I don't even know how I did it, but I think I just looked back and seen where my faults were instead of using it as a thing to always keep me down, like feel entitled to this position. I looked at it as a way where I could grow from it. And then I noticed that one of the flaws I had or bad things was I was scared to speak up. And I learned that through there, scared to speak up. And I was just like, put myself down. I was very negative. I'll mess up, fumble during the game, super negative, go home, all mad, just go in my room and sit there. But then I looked back at like, I could look at it, see where I did wrong, make it so it don't happen again, and then learn not to be negative. Like this applies to everything. When you do bad on the test, anything like that, you just don't let anything distract you from your course. And that's just how I learned. And then looked at my flaws and all that.
Okay. Yeah, that's smart right there.
I came to terms with it. I came to terms with all the things.
Man, again, to be 17.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? To hear you, the mindset, and what I want you to do is as you continue to grow, evolve, and take in information, I want you to keep in mind this, the first time you had that aha moment. Right, because you said that, Pops would come and 1 minute he on this, 1 minute he on that, and you like, come on, man, I'm trying to do this. Why you keep talking to me about this? And then there was this moment. He was like, wow, wait a minute. So everything in life for you, right, is going to be right on the other side, of that fear or that frustration. Mm-hmm. You just got to be able to push through it. And if you keep that, at the center, of your navigation system, everything else will fall into play, And so I want to, come down to what we consider our thought of the day, and I just want to share with you guys that one of the other strategies we practice here in the emotional intelligence platform is that we understand that we are responsible, right, for how we act, no matter